Okay, today we're going to be installing new brake pads. The brake pads on the other side were really low, so I've already changed those. I'm going to go ahead and change these on this side, and I'm going to show you how to do it. So one of the first things you want to do is pick a really good spot and jack up your car. I'm not going to jack it up completely. What I'm basically doing is I'm just getting it snug. You can see the tire still on the ground, but the jack is in a tight spot. So I'm going to break free the bolts or the lug nuts right here. Once I break them free, then I'm going to go ahead and jack up the car so the wheel's off the ground, and I'm going to take the lug nuts off, take off the tire. So I'm going to come back to you when we get that done. So I'm going to show you this trick I learned from a friend of mine. When you're changing a car on the side of the highway, you always want to take your tire and put it underneath the car. I'm going to show you. Probably better to face it the other way, but you want to put it underneath the car right about where the frame is. So if for some reason your jack did fail right there, the car would fall onto the tire and you wouldn't get hurt. Now, the best time to do this is really when you're on the highway, you're on the side of the road, you're changing it, and these big tractor trailers come by and they really wiggle the car. I've actually been on the side of the road before changing a tire, and the tractor trailer came by and it made so much wind that it knocked the car off the jack, and I had the tire just like this. The car fell on the tire, didn't pop the tire, but it saved me from really having a bad situation. All I did was reposition the jack, put it back up, and we were back in business. Didn't affect the tire or the wheel at all. So that's just a good tip that you want to do, especially when you're changing a tire or if you're on the side of the road. So I got new rotor for this. You can see here's my new rotor right here wrapped in plastic. I'm going to put a new rotor on, so we're going to do that right now. One of the first things that we need to do is we need to take off this brake caliper right here. There's two bolts in the back. I'm going to see if I can show them to you. So there's a bolt. I don't know if you can see that. There's a bolt right there. There's a bolt right there. And there's another one down here. So we're going to take out both of those bolts. This whole piece should come off. And we're going to get us a little small bungee cord so we could basically hold it out of the way. Maybe put it up on this bar right here. So I'm going to get to doing that right now. Okay, so with both bolts out, I'm going to go ahead and pull this free. And I'm going to put it upside down so I could see it. Wow, these pads are actually fine. The other side was really bad because the other side had basically the rotor was destroyed. It's always a good idea though to replace the pads. When you replace one side, you want to replace the other. So I'm going to go ahead and do that anyway. But these pads, honestly, those pads look just as good as the new. But I'm going to replace them since I'm here, and I already have the pads and the rotor that I purchased to do this. Maybe loop this around here. And we'll just let it hang right there. All right, so what you want to do is, wow, these look brand new. So you want to just push them to get them out. You can see I even have some of the clips coming with it. You know what? I know why these are new. I remember when I was at the dealership when I bought this car, one side froze up, and they said that they replaced the caliper and the brakes. It looks like they really only did one. Anyway, what we also did is you want to replace the clips. There were some clips right here. And there's actually, I don't know if you could see this, but you could see there's a clip right here. If we can get it to focus in. Clip right here. There's also one on the inside. There's one that was here, came out. There's one over here on the inside. We're going to take all those 4 clips out. It's a good idea to buy new clips because that makes the brake pads be a lot tighter when you put them in. So I'm going to go ahead and pop those out with a screwdriver and replace them with some new ones. So here's the bag of the clips that I got to replace, you know, all those little clips around the brake caliper. They also come with little rubber boots. I'll show you where to put those. But they're also coated with something to make sure that usually that your brake pads don't squeak. To get the old ones out, really all you want to do is just put your screwdriver in the spot and just pop it out. It's really not that tough. I'm gonna get them all out. So all of them are out. You can see that's what they look like. I'm gonna go ahead and pop the new ones in. Before I do that, I'm gonna take this off. If you look at this front part of the caliper, you can actually just pull this off. It might be a little bit stuck, but you should be able to just pull it off. And basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna replace that boot right there. I don't know if that's focusing, but there's a boot right here. We're gonna replace that. If you wiggle it back and forth just a little bit, eventually it'll come right out. And you can see it just popped right out of those. There we go. It's out. So what you want to do is put some grease right here and also right here before you put the new boot back on. Just take the old boot and just pull it off. You could get a screwdriver if it's too tough to pull, but I'm just pulling them off. The grease is really cheap. It's grease they use just for brakes. It's up there at the counter of any of the automotive stores. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply some grease, put the new boots on, and then put it back together. All right, so you can see I've added some grease. I'm gonna go ahead and put my boot on. It honestly looks like it doesn't matter which way it goes. You just push it up there. Okay, before you put the rest of the caliper back on, we want to compress this cylinder right here. So the best thing to do is you can get a C-clamp, or this is the actual tool they use. It only costs about $8 at the automotive store, but you just put it in place and you keep screwing on it until it pushes the caliper in. So it's going to take a minute. I don't know if you could tell, but it's slowly getting it in. Okay, once you've compressed this piece almost flush, what you want to do then is grab the other piece of the caliper, slide it into place. Okay, so what you want to do is push it pretty hard until that clamps down. You see that? Now in place. Same with the other side. Of course, it looks like it went ahead and clamped down when it got it. I'm going to take that grease off the boot. I don't want to leave that on there. Okay, so now what you need to do is take all your clips and pop them into the right places. Okay, so here's how you put the clips in. Here's a clip. In this case, you want the tall side. You can see there's a short side and a tall side. Put the tall side in first, and the best thing to do is put the back in. Make sure the back is in, and then you just push down on the front and it just kind of clips in. I hope you saw that. So you can see that's on the outside. The tall is at the top, the short is at the bottom. Alright, now we're going to put the brake pads in. A lot of people on the back here, this whole surface, they coat with the brake grease. We're not going to do that because there's a special coating that's on these that I think will make the brake pads not squeak, so I think we're fine. So basically you just need to put these in by putting them in the right way. Make sure that you put the sides in those clips that we just put in. Okay, so that was sort of a pain, but you got to get it in the sides, both of them, and then you just push it down in it, and that's in. All right, then you do the other side, same way. Make sure you orient it right. With these new clips, it's fitting really tight. So tight that I almost want to cuss. But I won't. Alright, I'm going to use a screwdriver to help get this in. It's in there. There we go. So we got our brakes in. Took a lot of struggling, but we got it. So I'm going to go ahead and find our bungee cord. I'm going to get it back out of the way here for a minute. And we're going to take off the rotor. This is the easiest job. Now make sure that the brake, I'm talking about the emergency brake, is not on, because the emergency brake will stop you from taking this off. And you just pull it. If it's tight, like this, you could use I can't talk. If it's tight like this, you could use a mallet. But you just keep wiggling back and forth, and eventually it will come off. It's coming. So you just keep pulling. This one's pretty tight. Alright, finally. Took forever, but it's off. Alright, now if you wanted to replace these brakes, that's another video. I'm not actually replacing them because I think it's fine. So you take your new rotor and you just slip it on. That's it, piece of cake. Then you want to take your brake caliper that you just had hanging there and slide it in between those two brake pads. And now find your bolts that held it on and put them in place. Alright, make sure you do both of them, top and bottom. Tighten them up real good, and then we're going to put the tire on. Tighten the bolts, lower it down off the jack, and you should be good to go. That's really the complete brake job. Good luck with your projects. Hope you don't have any problems with yours. Thanks for watching. I hope this helped you. If it did, please give us a thumbs up, maybe even subscribe. Check out our other videos. Thanks.